What's up, guys? Kevin Yates live, back on track today. I was off Monday. I didn't do an episode Monday because there was just too much shit going on. Like, we are in the midst of a move here. We're getting ready to move, and the clock's ticking down. We got like 2 days left here, so we were getting so much done. I kept thinking, okay, I'll do this video. But, I don't like to be in anxiety mode or like in a rush or anything, to do that. And there was just so much going on. So I kept kind of putting it off and I thought, oh, I'll do it in the afternoon. And one thing led to another. And it just wasn't gonna, if I put out a video that day just for the sake of doing an episode because it was a scheduled day, then, I felt like I wasn't going to be completely present in that video. And, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put shit out that if my heart's not in it 100% just because it's supposed to be my day, like, I don't want to just do that. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. So Monday was off, but I'm back today. And hopefully if you watched that last episode on Friday, we were talking about how to create a shit ton of happiness and fulfillment in your life. And, it was going through really this 3-step process of, where freedom is kind of the ultimate thing, right? When anything that we want in our lives, whatever goals we have, these dreams, these ambitions that we have, it all comes down to the fact that we really, deep down, we're trying to have more happiness in our life. And that's what this comes down to. So all these other things we want to achieve are just a means by which we're looking to achieve happiness or to experience more happiness. And so, I went through and talked about a lot about freedom, the importance of freedom, because freedom really is the pathway to happiness. And the less freedom we have, the less happiness we experience, the more unhappy we become. So that was, the whole part one of that. So I'm going to talk, I'm going to continue today. Today was about the second part of the process. So it was freedom, choice, and self-awareness. And that was a 3-part formula that we used to create a shitload of happiness and fulfillment and freedom, right? And freedom. So today I kind of titled it that way, how to create, freedom in our lives, because freedom that's the vehicle to happiness that we're looking for. So, like I said, it's just been crazy with this whole move and everything. We got like a million things going on. I've got like, the moving truck outside ready to go. And after this today, we're going to be like, we're still like packing things up. We got most of it done, but we're getting ready to ship out. So the next time you see me doing an episode of Kevin Yates Live, it's going to be a completely different look in the background because I'm going to be at a different location. So that means that this Friday, I won't be doing an episode then because that's going to be, a part of our moving day and everything there. There's just too much crap going on there. So most likely it's going to be Monday next week when I will be back. So that being said, like I said, today we're gonna continue to go through the 3-part formula for creating freedom and happiness in your life. Whole shit ton of it. And today we're going to be talking about choice. So this is the big, the middle, right? This is if happiness is dependent upon freedom, right? We need freedom to experience happiness. So if that's true, then to experience freedom, we have to have choice. Because imagine this, right? When the more options you have, the more choices you have. If you've got choices here and 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 all these different choices and options, you have more freedom, right? So the opposite also holds true. When we are limited with the choices we have, then our freedom becomes limited as well, okay? So that's what I'm coming at you with today. I'm going to get into that. Hopefully the connection issues and all that are sorted out. I usually do a trial run to test out the connection, all that. I didn't do that today. I'm having some real confidence that the connection's going to be good. So if you tune in and I go fuzzy or the picture looks like crap, do me a favor and let me know, comment below, okay? And just tell me. So, let's see where we are going here. Real quick, we're going to go truth bomb of the day. This is my hashtag truth bomb. No sound effects needed. None of that. All right, I'll do my own. Anyway, so truth bomb of the day here. It's real simple. It's about really doing the work, right? Doing the work you need to do. Look, wherever it is that you want to go in life, whatever dream you have, whatever the goal is, the ambitions you have, you've got to just do the work. Commit yourself to doing the work to getting there. I see it far too many times. I've been guilty of it myself before, where I had all these lofty goals and these big dreams, and yet I wasn't doing the work I needed to do to achieve them. You know, I was stuck in the rut where I was hoping to God that somebody was going to save me, you know, and it's just, it's too, I don't want to say easy, but it is too easy to fall into that rut where we have these big goals and dreams, but yet we're expecting something for nothing. We want somebody to come and save us. We're waiting for the opportunity to come our way. We're waiting until we have everything we feel we need, until the time is right, until life settles down. You know, we're just kind of wishing and hoping that one day this happens, and that shit, it's never going to work, right? Here's the reality of it. Nobody's going to come and save you. Nobody's going to come and dump your dream, boom, right there on your lap. Which is why, you know, I have nothing against like law of attraction. I really don't. I know it's real. I've used it myself and I've seen it work. It's worked many times in my life. I've used it. But where people go wrong is when they think that just because they think something over and over in their head and they envision it, that it's automatically just going to happen on its own. And that's, you know, the missing secret, as you probably already know. You've got to do the work. It's okay to, you know, visualize things. I'm a big believer in that. Visualize your goal, visualize your dream, get into the feeling of it and everything. But you also have to pay attention to the inspirations that come to you and to the opportunities that present themselves. I'm not saying you sit back and you just wait until something comes knocking at your door. You get up and you open your eyes and you look around, and if something's not there for you, then you got to create it. You have to do the fucking work that it takes to get the result that you want. You cannot sit back and wait for someone to bring it to you. You can't wait for a phone to ring, someone to knock on your door, somebody to frickin' save you, because it ain't gonna happen. And you don't have, I don't want to say enough time, but we don't know how much time we have here. We assume there's always going to be tomorrow. We assume there's always going to be next week. We assume there's always going to be someday when we'll make the time and the effort to make our dreams in life happen. But it's got to stop. We really don't know. Anything could happen. You could freaking get hit by a car, and this could be your last day on this earth. You know, and if you think about that, what kind of regrets would you have? Would you really feel that you lived your life the way you wanted to? Or would you die with those regrets? The 5 worst words of regrets. I wish I would have. I wish I would have done that thing. Oh man, I never did that. Right? You don't know how much time you have. So stop waiting around. If you're waiting around, don't be waiting around. Wishing and hoping are not effective strategies. Don't wait for anyone to bring your dream to you. You've got to get up, roll up your sleeves, and do the fucking work. That is today's hashtag Truth Bomb. All right. Now I'll take a deep breath because I get into that stuff. I get passionate when I talk about that kind of shit because I hate seeing people give their power away. I hate seeing people who just give up and feel that their dreams aren't possible, who just tend to look at all the things that they don't like, don't want, feel that they can't have, or listen to all the bullshit beliefs that other people tell them about what's possible and what's not possible for them. And they go through their whole lives like that. They go through their whole lives with like something in their heart, a purpose that they feel that they're here, and in a dream, and then they never like live it. You know, they never do anything because they just kind of gave up on it. And there's too many damn people roaming the earth like that nowadays. And I was telling this to Veronica, my wife, 2 days ago. We were driving home in traffic, and I was getting pissed off about these stupid fucking little cameras that they put in the fast lanes out here so that they could charge you money for like every goddamn tenth of a mile that you fucking drive. As if paying taxes isn't enough, they have to build these stupid little cameras to take pictures of your car and mail you a bill in the mail because you're using a public road that you're already paying taxes for, and yet they feel a way to try to find another way to charge us more money. And I was telling my wife, I said, can you imagine if everybody in America said, fuck this, we're not paying that shit. And we all bonded together and said, no, we're not paying your stupid taxes. What would the government do? What would they do? They wouldn't be able to put us in jail. Are they going to put us all in jail? They would be completely and totally fucked. Completely. There would be nothing they could do about it. And I told her, I said, people really need to wake up. I want to just sometimes grab people, shake them up and wake them up. Because we're sleepwalking. We're just sleepwalking. We're letting shit like this happen and we don't say anything. We don't do anything. It's like we just give our power away. And when we give our power away, we can't create the life that we want. We lose our freedom. And that's what this is all about, freedom, right? Because freedom leads to happiness. And if we're giving our freedom away, we're giving our happiness away right there. Okay? So, I go on this rant and everything, but that's why, I talk about this stuff, and that's why I'm talking about choice today. So when I'm talking about choice, it's more than just okay, gee, I think I'll go do this today instead of doing that, right? It's not like just that. You got to understand that making a choice is you're choosing freedom when you are consciously making choices in your life. But that's the key, consciously. Because most of the choices we make are being done unconscious. We do them like fucking robots all the time because we're conditioned out of habit. We live our lives in so much of a repetitive kind of pattern. It's a habit. We just go through the motions. It's like, every day going to work, get up out of bed, go shower, go get ready, get in the car, go to work, do work, drive home, come home, relax, make dinner, eat dinner, sleep, repeat the next day. And that's like all of our freaking lives is like this. Without consciously thinking am I really happy doing this shit that I'm doing every day? Because what was that study in, I think it was Forbes magazine, in 2012, when they polled people and 84% of people, nearly 85% of people were unhappy with their current jobs. And these are only the people that admitted it. And these are only the people that they interviewed. I mean, how many people were really unhappy but not admitting it? Because there's a lot of people that have too much kind of ego to admit something like that. And I would be willing to bet it's more in the 90s. So, again, when we're not consciously creating our choices, we're doing them unconsciously. And when we do things unconsciously, we really have no choice. It's like choices are being made for us. Okay? So, that's what I'm talking about here. Now, when we limit choices, we limit our freedom, right? Less choice equals less freedom. And when you have less freedom, you have less happiness. It's plain and simple. So let's look at some of the ways that we're limiting our choices. What are we really doing? And a couple of things that come to mind are labels, right? Labels are huge. It's labels and expectations. So when we look at labels, these are the things that and it's really easy to do it. We can almost do them automatically, right? Again, it's unconscious. It's almost through habit. We place labels such as, I could never do that, or that's not realistic, or, for whatever reason, right? This isn't possible. That's a bunch of bullshit. That will never work. And anytime that we're putting labels on things, we're limiting choice, okay? So the more labels I have, that won't work, that's not possible, that's not realistic, then the fewer choices I'm going to have. And one of the most interesting things is, again, when we stop doing things unconsciously and we start to really examine the reasons behind the labels. Where did it come from? Because they come from beliefs, right? But now a lot of times the beliefs we have are just beliefs that we've inherited. somewhere along the way, a lot of times it's during like childhood. It could be like a traumatic event or something happened, but we automatically kind of develop these beliefs. But if we really examine where they come from, that will tell us a lot. A lot of times when we label things as something that's unrealistic, well, what are we basing that on? Are we basing that on our own experience with whatever it is that we're talking about? Or are we labeling it based on maybe something somebody told us? How many times, I don't know but about you, but like with me, when I was younger, especially, my parents all the time, they meant well, but they were, very, what do I want to say? But they were very assertive about, telling me what is and is not realistic, or what was and was not realistic. My in-laws did that as well. And it was based on their beliefs. Again, they didn't mean anything bad by it. But what happened was that a lot of that stuff, I just inherited that. Like, I accepted that blindly because they said it. And it was at a time where I was very impressionable. And so, I was very vulnerable to things like that. And so I just accepted those as beliefs. And sure as hell, that's how I ended up running my life. So, if I looked at certain things, an option, a goal I had or whatever, I would automatically, I would dismiss the thing to do to achieve the goal, or the goal. I would just dismiss that entirely based on the adopted belief that I had that wasn't realistic for me. So hopefully that's making sense. If I'm coming in here, I'm hoping that the reception is good. If there's any issues with reception or whatever, do me a favor, type in the comment or whatever, let me know. But also, if any of this is resonating with you, if this is like, you're like nodding your head, or this is making you think of something similar in your life, give me a like right here, comment, let me know. But also do me a favor and share this video. I want to share this because, if this is resonating with you, then this is going to resonate with somebody else out there who is going through some kind of struggles in their own life. And, they need this message as well. So do me a favor and share this out. All right. So, talking about that, whoops, dropped my camera. That's always good. There we are. So show must go on though, right? It's not about editing and having everything perfect. If I drop the goddamn camera, then I drop the damn camera. Oh well, please forgive me for it. So as usual, got my notepad so I don't get off track with everything, but labels. We're talking about labels. All right, so making sure that we're not just labeling things, because when we label things, then laugh out loud to you too, honey. Anyways, when we label things, then we limit choice. And if we limit choice, then we limit freedom. So this is the big thing. Labels are one way we do that. The other thing is expectations. When we set our expectations according to what we believe is possible for us, or according to what we believe is not possible for us, that's the same thing as labels. It just happens in a different way, where again, we limit what we can do. We limit the options we have based on what we expect of ourselves. So the thing that I'm saying is that whatever it is that you aspire to be, whatever you want to do, whatever it is you want to have, whatever your life, your dream life looks like, you have got to expect more of yourself. Because if you're like right here and you want to get like somewhere out here, then the expectations you have to be higher than what it takes to keep you here. Because what you're doing right now to keep you where you're at, and I'm not labeling where you're at as good, bad, right, wrong, anything. I'm not judging it. I'm not, critiquing it in any way. But what I'm saying is that wherever you're at, it's based on the expectations you've had of yourself. All right, so you are at this place right now because this is as far as your expectations have gone. So to get beyond where you're at, or to aspire to do something different, your expectations have to go beyond. You've got to expect more of yourself than what you currently are now. You've got to raise that shit up, because if you don't do it, nobody will do it for you. This goes back into the truth bomb earlier. Nobody's going to freaking rescue you. Nobody's going to take your dream and say, here you go on a silver platter and put it in your lap. You cannot wait for someone to save you. Don't wait for the right opportunity to come your way. You got to do the work. You choose you. And part of that in choosing you and your dream and your goals is to raise those expectations up. And it doesn't have to be anything monumental, but it's got to be enough that it takes you beyond where you're at now, right? So expectations have got to come up. So that's the two things about choice, right? Stop using labels about things. Don't label things as good, bad, right, wrong, whatever. Don't label things according to other people's beliefs, right? Don't, label things according to, what supposedly is realistic. If somebody else tried something and it didn't work for them, it doesn't mean that it will not work for you, okay? You've just got to keep, your options open. And so that's what comes into the other part of choice is how do we increase the choices we have? Because the more choices we have, I said it before, leads to more freedom, and then freedom leads to happiness. So choices, instead of looking at all of the things that I talked about, right? That's not realistic. I can't do that. This is impossible, whatever with that. That's very disempowering. It takes your power away. It takes your power to choose away. And we take that away, we're taking away freedom. So if we flip it around the other way and start looking at what is the ultimate idea of happiness for you? If you had your life exactly as the way you want it, what would freedom look like? What would happiness look like for you? Okay? So when you know that, then it's just a matter of going, okay, if this is happiness for me, if this is my idea of it, it might be a place you want to live. It might be, somebody you aspire to be. It might be, a purpose that you want to live, something you want to do and experience, whatever that is. Define that and then ask yourself, if this is my thing, if this is my idea or my definition of happiness, then what needs to be done so that I can experience that? Like, what has to happen here? What are the options that have to happen? This was interesting because, with me and my wife, how, we were looking at this whole thing. For years, I had, one of my definitions of happiness was having more time with my family, because, years ago I was, working, and I was working like 10 to 12 hours a day, and I was commuting and doing all this shit that I didn't want to do, and spending a lot of time away from my family. So, I had to leave in the morning when my daughter was really young, and I was leaving before she got up in the morning and before my wife got up in the morning. And then by the time I was coming home at night, my daughter was already asleep, and, my wife was wiped out, and, it was just like, it was dark in the morning and dark at night, and I didn't have the time with them that I wanted. And so one of my definitions of happiness was having more time with my family. I wanted to be able to wake up with them in the morning. I wanted to be able to cook breakfast for them. As my daughter got older, I wanted to be able to not only have that time in the morning with her to, have time for breakfast, but to have time to talk and chit chat with her and to take her to school and to pick her up. Like, I wanted to be there for that. So I had to look at what needed to be done to make that possible. So, well, obviously one of the things for me was like, I had to stop working for somebody who was in control of the hours that I had to be at work. And as long as somebody else was controlling that, I couldn't have that kind of freedom. So that was one thing. So, one thing led to another, where eventually I was in a position where, with a business partner, I was able to start my own business. So, and I was thinking, well, that would be great because now I can have more time freedom. However, before I realized it, I was the only one doing any work in the business because the partner, wasn't doing shit. And so I was doing all the work, and I was, we ran, it was personal training. It was like group personal training. So there were certain times that we had our workout scheduled for, and I had to be there at those times, which, again, it quickly became like working for somebody else almost. I was working for me, but my hours were already set, and they were hours that were taking away from, what I wanted to have more time with my family. So, eventually though, it got to the point where, I had to look at, well, if I didn't have this business, then it's just a matter of replacing the income. So what are the other options that I have to replace the income from the business so that I don't have to, work these hours anymore? And there was other things going on. Like, I had bigger aspirations then to do training. I was looking at getting out into, to speaking, and I wanted to empower people and, do this like on a very, very big level. And, I've talked about this before with the fitness thing. I was less passionate about that. So I saw where I needed to go, but again, it was the matter of doing that, right? So having to replace the income. And so, that was the thing. Now, fortunately, we got to a place where, we're able to do that now, so that, I didn't have to be at the business anymore. I was able to shut the business down and still be in a good position. And now my wife, it was the same thing. She really, really, loves doing hair. She's been, a hairstylist for a number of years, like 25 plus years here. And that's what she has been aspiring to do for so long. And, so one of the things to have that freedom is she also wanted more time with us, with her family. And so that, that was another thing. It was looking at the options, right? What needed to be done to be able to get in that position? So again, for her day job that she had been working for almost 10 years was really taking a lot of that away from her. And it was taking her freedom and her happiness away from her. So, fortunately, again, she just recently was able to leave that job because we were in a position where, we were able to replace the income there. And so, this is just how it goes. Now, what that did was that increased the choice, right? We started thinking of options and working toward those options instead of looking at everything that we thought was unrealistic, wasn't possible, wasn't gonna work, We didn't label things because they didn't work for somebody else, right? We based things on our own experience and our own beliefs, and and based on what we wanted for our own lives. So hopefully that's making sense, but it's really just getting, defining what your happiness looks like, your definition of happiness, and then, asking yourself, what has to happen in order for me to experience this? For me to live this idea of happiness, what needs to happen? And get everything down, write it all down that needs to happen. And then from there, it's just a matter of listing the options. What are all the options that I have? And doing that without judging, without labeling, right? Without setting your expectations way down low based on, somebody else's beliefs of what's possible for you, based on what other people expect of you, or any of that other kind of nonsense. All right? So that's basically it, because when you do that, when you list the options, you're going to find that you have more power to create choice in your life. And as I said a million times now, choice, the more choice you have, the more freedom you have. And the more freedom you have, the more happiness you will experience. Happiness is not about having to have a certain amount of money. It's not about having to have a big house or a white picket fence, or, to have more than other people do. It's not about like comparing yourselves to other people or any of this other bullshit that, we're taught in society or conditioned to believe that in order to be happy, we have to have a bunch of stuff. It's not the stuff that makes you happy. It's what you define as your own idea of happiness, and then finding the way to make that a reality for you, finding a way to get yourself there. All right. And again, you got to be the one to do the work, though. No one could do it for you. Right. But it's not impossible. And happiness isn't based on anything outside of you. You decide. You create your own life. If you don't create your own life, then it will be created for you. If you don't make conscious choices, they will be made for you. Right? And when you do that, you give your freedom away. All right? So always be aware of that. You are in charge of this whole thing. And all I'm doing with these episodes are trying to show you different ways that you can basically wake up and create your own life the way you want it. Okay, so that's it for me today. Like I said, there will be no show on Friday because that's our moving day, but the next time you see me, we'll be back on Monday, and you will be seeing me in a different place because we will be living in a different place. Monday, I'm going to talk about the final part, the third part in this whole freedom and happiness formula, which is awareness. And that is the foundation for which all of this happens. Okay, so again, this is the final piece of the puzzle, because if you don't have awareness, then the choices that you make, you're not going to be making choices very consciously, which means then you're not going to have the freedom and you're not going to have the happiness. So we are going to go into awareness on Monday. That will be a very, very powerful show, one you definitely do not want to miss. Again, share this video before you go. Click the share button. Share this with anybody you feel needs to hear this. There are people out there who need to hear this message. There are people out there who feel powerless, who are giving their power away and wishing and hoping for something better in their lives. They feel they're meant for something more, but they're just struggling to get there. There's roadblocks in their way, and they just don't know how to eliminate those and to get through that so that they can live their lives the way that they want. So please do me a favor, share this video with somebody else, post it on your timeline, and be back here if you haven't done so already. This is on Facebook at my page, Kevin Yates Live. Like the page, follow me there, and that way you'll get notified when a new live episode comes up. I am done for today. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time on Monday. Have a great day.